Houston. Some might say it's scorching hot, but I'm just going to call it a beautiful day. Somebody's laughing at me. Okay, I want to make sure that this stream is working today. I've gone out twice testing, and both times my audio didn't work, among other things. Let's see. Okay, I think it says I'm live. But I specifically want to make sure that the volume's working. And I might not be able to do that with my phone plugged in here. So I'm just going to unplug it. Okay, so volume, audio's working. Okay. Now, so I can switch views on my phone here. Okay, so on the left side of the screen is what I use to switch views. So let's go to, that's Chart Plotter plus iPhone. And so what I'm going to do is get started with this thing. The volume was working a minute ago. I gotta make sure every once in a while.
Media will play softer.
No. I don't want softer. No. Softer. Do not want softer. Why did that happen? Okay. Alright, so now let's go to wouldn't that be something if I could see the stream and also connect to the camera? So for some reason, I gotta check into this, research it a little bit. If this camera is not connected to the phone, it shuts off. Okay, so we've got the rear cam, and then I can also see chat on this. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I don't want settings, I want my browser. Okay, so let's test that chat. Let's check our volume again. Testing, that looks good. Okay. Now I mounted this, I got two phones here. One's an old Android and that's got that chat on it. And I've got that mounted horizontally. And I really probably should have mounted it vertical, but I can change that. Okay, now, so I could do that. But I don't really need that. I only wanted to check the volume. Or the audio. Okay, so now, we're getting close. I hate to wear a shirt because it's already 85 and super humid down here. But I want to be able to hook the mic. Okay, this is probably a bad idea. I wanted to be able to hook the mic to my shirt so my audio is better. I've been fighting audio so much, I want the best I can get now. Okay, so that's all done. We got the rudders down. We got the engine hooked up. Let that warm up a little bit. Then let's see if we can get this camera up without it shutting off on me. Okay, there we go. So now I'm not hearing my chat. Why am I not hearing my chat? Okay. Let's go with, no. In fact, I'm going to go down and create another view with both cameras. Well, I don't have to go down, I can do that right here. What am I thinking? Okay. Go to 2. Let's go with this one and this one. Hit done. And then we'll change. We'll give that wide view camera the wide location. Let's see. Okay. Volume still seems to be working. How's that view of the boat? It looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go down and test my headphone volume one more time before I untie and take off, because I should be hearing my chat in my ear. So I got a laptop down here. Okay, so we're connected to the mic, or to the headphone, to the headset. Yeah, we're connected in 2 places, Bluetooth, and it's selected. Now let's go here. I bet you I have to have this. Yep, there we go. So I actually have to have okay, so these are a little bit annoying for anybody who might be watching, but I'm leaving them there for now. I don't have many viewers ever anyway, so I'm leaving it like that with all of those exclamation point statements. For one thing, they might add some value and people may like them, we'll see, but what they do for me is they allow me to hear my chat and I can be assured that it's working. You know what I mean? Good morning. Okay. I don't like how this headset fits. I did some work on it last night, but still not right. Okay, dagger board's down, rudder's down, power's disconnected. Untied from the dinghy. I think we're ready. Checkers is down below because he's not liking the heat. He got some stitches this week, and so he's got to have a cone on his head so that he doesn't lick or chew the stitches, which he'll do in about 30 seconds without the cone. Morning. Yeah, if the wind comes up.
Yeah, you headed out? Sailing?
Actually, I'm going out. I got a system here I got to checking my autopilot. So today's a testing day.
I know what you're doing. I want to see you out there.
Okay. That's Cinnamon Girl. I don't know what his name is. Let's see, does he show up on the AIS? Oh, Checkers hears me talking to somebody and he wants to come up. Hi, buddy. As soon as I get to stop the boat, Checkers, I'll bring you up. Last time you didn't want to be up. You okay, buddy? Okay, I'm gonna... Okay. I turned my trolling motor on, and I think it'll stay. You have to press the button and turn the power on up at the trolling motor. And then I believe it stays on for 15 minutes, and then it shuts off. If you run the motor remotely from my remote control back here, within that 15 minutes, well, then I think it will stay for another 15 minutes without using it. So I just checked it. What's going on here? Display. Okay, there's the deploy. So I'm going to deploy it. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put the rope on the other opposite side of it, so I'm not going to deploy it. When I untie the boat, I have one rope that goes over the top of the trolling motor when I'm tied up. But to deploy the trolling motor, I always like to take that rope and not fish it, but just swing it underneath the trolling motor so that when the motor comes up, it doesn't touch that rope at all. I mean, I don't even think it would hurt anything, but just a precautionary step. So I hope my audio is working. Let me just check again. Test. It looks like it's working. It better be working or I'm going to be pissed. Okay, so let's get this Well, let's change some screens. So right now we've got chart plotter and 360 cam from above. Then I can switch to, this is a view of my rear camera and my Android phone for controlling the stream. So I don't know if you can see on the screen, that view should have a red border around it. So now I can switch to both cameras and then chart plotter. Now I'm going to change my chart plotter. I think that's fishing. I gotta watch see if there's anybody behind me because I'm going really slow and not exactly on my side of the channel. Okay, so let's expand that out a little bit. Why am I not seeing depth? I know I'm seeing 7.6 feet, but I wonder why I'm not seeing it on the screen. What's the 3D? I don't usually use this. So those are names of other boats that are showing up on my AIS system. That's a weird view. I don't like it. What's the raster chart? Okay. Relief shading. The Moon Shadow, that's a big ship owned by or boat, not exactly a ship, that I think is owned by Kemah Boardwalk. So all on our right side here is the Kemah Boardwalk. So if you look that way, you can see the roller coaster from the Kemah Boardwalk. I'll just leave the camera like that for a while. Across on this side are the parking lots for Kemah Boardwalk. And then they have a shuttle up here that goes back and forth. But I think they might have put that shuttle away for the winter. Or maybe the school year, not exactly the winter. But, so let's leave it like that. So I'm sweating my butt off here. There's no wind. It's about 85 degrees, I think, maybe climbing. So, okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about my boat. I'm preparing this boat. Well, the purpose. Let's start with the purpose of the boat. I want to go on the Great Loop, which is a 6,500 mile, if you take the standard routes, about 6,500 mile loop that goes around the eastern side of the United States. You travel the intercoastal waterway most of the way. So for example, when I leave from Houston here, I can either trailer my boat to Mobile, Alabama, which would be the first time I connect with the official Great Loop, or I can leave in the boat from here in Houston, but that adds about 500 miles. Plus, I want to take a pretty big detour, not a detour, but one of the optional routes, which goes up into Canada called the Trent Severn Waterway. Let's see, what's it like out in the Gulf today, or in the Bay, the Galveston Bay? It's pretty good. I'm gonna go. I don't always go out there when it's rough because, unless I'm sailing, because this channel that we're going out right now into Galveston Bay ends up kind of like the Miami channel that you see on YouTube all the time, where just big, huge roller waves. So this guy's fishing here. I got a guy behind me, so I'm going to stay kind of over closer to the boardwalk here. Okay, so I'm going on the Great Loop. So I've got this boat. I've been working on it for over a year, actually. Off and on. I use it. I work on it. I stay in it on weekends. And, but I'm preparing it to go on the loop. So when I got it, it's a Macgregor 26M, and it's like a dual-purpose boat. It's got a 60-horse Mercury, which I put on it, and then it's got sails. It's got a jib sail and a mainsail, and it's got a living quarters that's not super huge, but they say you can sleep 6 in it, but it would have to be me and 5 girlfriends, I think, to be comfortable. Anyway, so... And all it had really was a sink, a little tiny sink, which I still have. It's got a little alcohol stove, which I don't use, but I still have in there. And it's got some beds and cushions and everything. And it had one 12-volt circuit with 4 fuses in it. It was really set up just to operate the 4 interior 12-volt lights. So what I've had to do for this boat is virtually convert it to a tiny home you know what I mean? Like I got a better mattress in it. I've put a second 12-volt circuit with 4 different circuits. So now I got 8 12-volt fused 12-volt circuits that I use for various different things, because I got a ton of electronics on this boat. And then I also put in a 120 volt circuit with an outlet out here. I've got a 30 amp outlet on the outside of the boat here that I can, run a 50-foot cord. Let's kind of turn towards these waves here. I'm going to try a little bit of speed. So it looks like I've already lost the chart plotter. I got the dagger board down and I've got the rudders down, so I really shouldn't be going over 6 miles an hour. Okay, I still got the chart plotter. But you know what? This view doesn't show up very good, so let's go to this view. You okay, Checkers? What's the matter, buddy? Think he can hear me talking. There's a couple sailboats way out there. I think it's about 3 or 4 knots of wind today. Checkers, buddy! Do you need to come up here? Okay, so let's test out this trolling motor. Kind of in the middle of the channel here. off to the side a little bit. So I just set the anchor. So it should hold me in this position here. I mounted a trolling motor up on the front. Hey, Checkers, come on. You want to come up? You want to come up? Oh, stuff is falling around in here. That's what it is. Okay, come on, buddy. Wait, no. Hold on. Let me put this up. Okay, so I'm going to unanchor and I'm going to trim it back up. Okay, there you go, buddy. You don't have your life jacket on, but I got all the ropes up, so you should be good. It's just too hot for him to have that life jacket on. I say that, but it's also too wet to drown. Wonder if that's my neighbor. Okay. Checkers, I'm gonna get I'm gonna get your life jacket because I just scares me too much. Wait. Okay. I know you're going to be hot, buddy, but it's better to be hot than unsafe. Okay? Okay. All right. Okay, so we're 9.8, 9.7 feet of water. There's a crab pot right over there. Okay, let's check the stream. See if we think the audio is still working. Test. It looks like it's still. Uh-oh. What did I just do? Uh-oh. Okay, just pressed something I shouldn't have. Test. Looks like it's working. Okay. So Checkers just stuffed himself in between me and the back of my seat. Okay. All right. So we're out in Galveston Bay. Nobody coming up behind us. We're heading into the wind. That's why I got the flags. I got the flags instead of a $1,500 wind instrument that I really wanted. But I've overspent already. So I was talking about the boat and turning it into basically a tiny home. I added the 12-volt circuit. I added the 120-volt exterior watertight plug and a 50-foot 30-amp cord. And then from that plug, it goes into a small breaker box with two 15-amp breakers. Kind of wish I would have went with 3 or 4, and maybe even 20 amp, but I didn't want a big metal box inside there, and I was really struggling to find either a fiberglass or plastic breaker box. Actually, I shouldn't worry about it. I can add another one really easy. So I could add another box just like the one I got. It's really only about a 5 by 3 inch, a little bit bigger than a single gang outlet box. It's probably not even as wide as a double gang. But anyway, I got two 15 amp breakers in it. And then from there, I have 2 circuits coming out. And they both go to double gang outlet boxes. So I basically have 8 120 volt outlets from shore power. And then I have a couple of power strips because I plug in more than 8 things. I don't use, if I don't use all of those all at the same time, I could probably get by with even only 4 outlets, but it's just more handy to have everything plugged in all the time, even though if I'm not using it. And then I also have a product from a company that I'm not going to mention because I'm feuding with them right now to get some solar panels replaced. So I don't want to promote them. But I have solar panels, I have an air conditioner, and I have a 2200 watt battery storage system, all from the same company. And I'm going to turn around here. Got a massive boat coming in. Wow. So that 2200 watt battery also has a solar controller in it, so the solar panels will charge that thing. The solar panels that don't work for shit. And then, in addition, it has an inverter, so you can run 12 volt things from it, but you can also run 120 volt things from that. And that's got about probably 8, maybe even more than 8, maybe it's 9, 120 volt outlets. Wow, look at the size of that thing. That is a nice boat. Can you see that boat? Where is it? I can't see it on the camera. So I have quite a few things plugged into that, and what I have plugged into that is, in fact, there's an extension cord going from that out to here. So I'm actually running all of my devices out here, which I'll tell you about eventually, from that 120 volt inverter that's getting its power from the 2200 watt battery. That's pretty slick. You know, it's a fair amount of power, and the fact that I can either run 12 volt things or 120 volt is pretty handy. The only drawback is when you're using the 120 volt devices powered off of that inverter, it's using more energy than what it would be if I had them plugged in directly to 112 volts. And one of the things running from that right now is my refrigerator. And I have it running on 120 volts on the inverter, but I don't need to. I can also plug it in 12 volts. But I don't have a long enough cord. So when I plug it in, it goes across my aisle. I got to fix, or not fix it, but solve that. So I'm only out for a short time today. If I was going to be traveling on the Great Loop, where I might be in this boat for 8 hours, I wouldn't run that refrigerator on 120 volts. It just uses more power than it does if it's on 12. Because it's got to run the inverter, and there's an inefficiency drop on that. So there's that. And then I have an extension cord coming back here, or maybe I already said that, to power all of my streaming devices in the cockpit. I've got 2 Garmin's and 2 transducers, sonars. One's like a standard side view, rear side view. I don't know. I forget what it does. Side view for sure, but it might have one other view too. I don't know that much about them. But I've also got a live scope sonar, which I don't have in the water at the moment because I don't have my permanent location for that. I use it every once in a while, but I have to drop it in. And I don't want that in the water when I'm moving or going fast. Okay, so on my chat, there's a link there for location. If you click that, in fact, I wish somebody was on because you could click it and tell me if it's working. But that should show you where I'm at on a Google map, and it'll follow my progress. Another thing on my chat is my Patreon page link. I've got Starlink. I've got a Starlink link because I have Starlink on this boat. It's just another system I installed, and but there's a link there where if you wanted to buy Starlink, you could get 1 month free, which I think would be about $160 savings if you buy it from that link. I get a percentage, I think. You save a month or $160, and then I think I get a commission. But I haven't taken the time to figure out what it is. It's probably next to nothing, but so you don't have to buy through that link. Just it'll save you some money. Here's a cool tugboat coming here. That would be a great loop boat right there. He's moving along, wow. Sailing Delta Tango. Okay, so I was talking about power mostly. I also have a small air conditioner in here that runs off of 120 volt. It will also run off of that 220 watt battery. But I don't run it, like if down here in Houston, it gets so hot inside of the side of a small boat like this, it'll be 5 to 10 degrees hotter than what it is out in the sun. Like if it's 100 out, it's going to be 105 to 110 down inside this boat. So if you open up all the windows, what does a racing category mean? Hello? So somebody's in the chat saying something I don't understand. Oh, okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Phantom. I'll go look and see. I don't even know what that is, but I'll go into my settings and see if I can figure it out. Does that mean it's going to erase the stream and not save it? Okay, yep. So I'm on Restream, and Restream is supposed to do that. Oh, got it. Thanks. Gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha now. Gotcha. Thanks a lot. I know what you're talking about now. I'm kind of a rookie at this, but I do know what you're talking about. I don't even know how that got set like that, but it did. So, tell me, how does the stream look, Phantom? The cameras and everything. Got any suggestions for how I could improve it? Thanks. So I can switch my views from my phone up here. So yeah, I like it. The only drawback of it is it doesn't have an NDI output. It has to be connected to Wi-Fi, and then like I'm feeding it into my stream using my iPhone, and then the iPhone goes in through an NDI converter into my what's called a YOLO box, and that's what I'm using to switch scenes like this. So that screen on the left are the different views that I can set up here. Well, it looks like we might have lost. Did we lose the? Looks like we lost the chart plotter. We did. So this view is supposed to be the chart plotter. Checkers, my dog is up on my lap now. Anybody behind me? Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Phantom. You've been a big help. Oh, there it is. Now it's back. Buddy. Okay. Sorry about that. I lost my focus for a while talking to Phantom and trying to have this dog okay and getting the chart plotter back on the screen. Oh, I forgot to ask Phantom if that location link was working. Okay, we're going 4.6 miles an hour. We're in 13 feet of water. I gotta check out the... Oh, cool. Thank you, Phantom. Can you see the boat moving? What you doing there, Checkers? Let's bring the 360 cam down for a little while, and so we can see a Checkers cam. There we go. I think we can see. Awesome, thank you. Okay, cool. I forgot to press record on my... So I'm recording this stream now. Excuse me. And I'm recording the 360 cam, the rear view cam, the chart plotter, all on separate channels. So I can record up to 5 inputs. One of them would be whatever I have selected for on the stream, like when I change the screens like this. That's one recording, and then I'll have a separate recording for each individual camera or input. And I'm a total rookie at this, but what my plan is to, when I'm traveling on the Great Loop and I anchor or tie up at a marina for the night, I can take those recordings and then convert them to reels and shorts and even a YouTube video. But I got some learning to do before I'm going to be doing quality edits. Right now I can barely get a decent stream. So right now we're in the channel that goes between Clear Lake and Galveston Bay. Lots of people fishing today. Some really expensive homes on the side of this thing. I should look up find some that are for sale and just look them up. Because I'll bet you any money a small rundown thing that could even potentially flood is going to be a $500,000 to $1 million. Morning. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Okay, so I was talking about all the modifications I did to this boat. And I was talking about the electrical systems. So I think I've covered everything that's related to 12 volt or 120 volt input power. But now I'll go on to batteries. So I talked about the 220 watt battery inverter solar charger. And then I also have a house battery that starts the motor and powers like my Garmin's that are up here. I got 2 Garmin's up in the cockpit. It's a 100 amp hour battery. It's an AGM, so it's heavier than hell, and I'm on the borderline of too much weight in this boat. So I'm going to replace that one. It's about 1.5 years old anyway. It doesn't seem to hold its charge quite as good as it used to. But I want to replace it with lithium. So I have that battery. I'll be replacing it. Then I have a lithium 60 amp hour battery in the cockpit here. And I'm actually using that right now to power one of my Garmin's. But I don't have to. I can also power that from down below. I just have to switch a connection around whenever I change it. I want to use this battery some just to cycle it. And this battery in the cockpit is hooked up to a 110 watt solar panel. And earlier in this stream, I talked about a company that I don't want to mention the name of because I'm arguing with them right now. But I have 2 solar panels from them that don't work for... the best I can get out of this 110 watt is about 35 watts at high noon. But it does charge this battery, and even with only that 35 watts, keeps it pretty well charged. Now this battery here is portable, it's watertight, it'll float, it's got an inverter in it. It's a pretty cool little rig from Dakota Lithium. And I'm going to use that to power my live scope, but I'm also going to use it to power the electric trolling motor that I've got in my dinghy, which I don't have with me today. It's back at the marina. Excuse me. So that's another 60 amp hour battery. And then I have 2 60 amp hour batteries up in the bow that power the front trolling motor. They're in series so that I get 24 volts. It's a 24 volt motor. But I'm holding off on my spending for a while because I've spent a boatload of money on this boat. And but my next electrical phase is going to include excuse me, a higher amp hour lithium battery to replace the AGM battery. But I'm also going to relocate my 2 batteries from the bow, and I'm going to bring a cable back from where I keep my house battery. I'm going to bring a cable back so that I can charge this battery that's in the cockpit here. I can charge it from a central location. I can use the solar panel, and I'm probably going to have to replace these solar panels. And the reason I want to have a cable coming back here, a black and a red, a hot and a ground, is because I'm going to put a controller in that's kind of expensive. I think it's about $300, $350. and it will be both a combiner and a charge controller, because lithium batteries will charge faster than normal batteries, and my motor has an 18 amp alternator on it, and I can actually fry or damage the alternator, or I can damage the lithium batteries if you don't have a controller that controls that rate of charge. But I also want to combine them so that I've always got, I can use every single battery. So let's say 2 batteries go low on charge. I'm going to have at least 4 lithiums. Right now, no, actually I got 4 right now. I'm going to have 5. And I want all 5 batteries charged by the motor. I figured it out, and it will charge. It could charge that many batteries in about a 12-hour day of motoring. So, you know, it's not going to be the end all. But I also have a generator, and so I can at night I can start the generator and charge everything up that's not completely charged. You know, I'll have shore power. I can charge from shore power. I can I've got one other solar panel, a 220 watt, that's connected to that 2200 watt battery and combination battery inverter, and also solar charger. So I got solar charging. I'll have to get new panels because the ones I got aren't working. I bought them refurbished. Never do that again. So having trouble keeping my train of thought here. There's something kind of cool going on over here. It's a whole bunch of kids on little sailboats. That's a pretty cool thing. You know that? So now we're out in Clear Lake, by the way. It's not so clear, but it's called Clear Lake. Pretty muddy always. So I got solar charging, I got a generator charging, I got shore power charging, and I've got 60 horse Mercury motor, 18 amp alternator charging. So that kind of covers the electrical system. Hiya, Checkers. Checkers. He's got to have a cone on his head because he got into a little tussle with our Great Dane, and he got a cut on his leg, and he had to have stitches. And if I take this cone off, he'll be licking that sore in about 30 seconds. Okay, I'm just going to pull off here. I already tested the trolling motor once, but I'm going to do it so that I get a video of it. So I'm going to raise the 360 cam. And get it facing forward. Then I'm going to take my remote control, turn the power on, and then I'm going to turn the trim on, and then I'm going to trim it down. Kind of headed towards these kids, which I don't want to do. Okay, so now I turn the GPS anchor on, and it might take a little few minutes, but what it'll do is it'll hold me in this location, but it'll also turn the boat into the wind. So that's going to be kind of handy. Let me talk about this trolling motor now. Let's make sure it looks like the audio is still working. All right. So this trolling motor, when I was starting to install it, there were some guys in the marina that thought I was absolutely crazy. In fact, one guy was laughing at me, shook his head like, "You're disgusting. Putting a trolling motor on a sailing boat." Well, you know, the whole purpose of this boat, it's a dual-use boat anyway. It's got the 60-horse Mercury, so I can go fully loaded. I can go about probably 14 miles an hour. Unloaded, I can go about 20. But I can also sail as well, right? Or I can motor sail. So when I'm on this trip, I can only sail about 20% of the time, but I'll be able to motor sail probably another 20%. So, you know, maybe as max, I'm going to call it max, 40% of the time I can be aided by the sails, saving fuel or whatever, right? I'm just having fun. So back to the trolling motor on the sailboat. I've never seen one. Well, there's some Macgregors like mine. Some guys have trolling motors on them, so I'm not the first. But, you know, it's pretty odd to put a trolling motor on a sailing boat, a true hardcore sailing boat. But I put it on for multiple reasons. One, on this trip, I want to be able to fish. And I've got it all set up for trolling, but I want to do some casting fishing as well. That's not even the main reason I got it, though. The main reason was I want to have a bow thruster. And I was looking into bow thrusters. You can buy some that mount on the outside of the boat, and then you drill a hole and you run the cable inside to the batteries and everything. There's some that you got to bore a hole all the way across the boat so that you've got like a tube bow thruster. And there's even one that is kind of like a trolling motor, and it's got a slide where you slide it, you can bring it up and down so you can deploy it like a trolling motor kind of. But then I started thinking about a trolling motor, and it's not the best bow thruster in the world, because for one thing I can whack it, you know. I can smack that motor into a dock if I'm using it as a bow thruster while I'm docking. So I got to be really careful when I do it that way. But more than that, I've got to go through about 150 to 170 locks on this 1 year long Great Loop adventure I'm going to be taking. And when you pull up to a lock, you radio the lockmaster, and they're not always ready for you to go in. And sometimes you have to wait, you know, a half hour, but sometimes it's hours. And so people will either do circles, or they will drop their anchor, or they'll go tie up somewhere. So with this, I can do what I'm doing right now. Just all I do is deploy it, set the GPS, and it'll probably run like that for 8 to 12 hours on the batteries I have. I haven't tested how long it'll run, but that's what I've calculated. We shall see. So anyway, it's when I'm waiting to get into a lock, it's going to be handy. Also, when I go into a lock, the normal approach to locking is most people have two people on the boat. One person goes to the bow, and they either throw a line, they grab a line, or they put a line around a bollard, and then whoever's driving the boat gets it. Once they get up against the wall, the lock of the wall, the guy in the back either throws a line, grabs a line, or throws one around a ballard. I'm getting a little bit too close to these kids here, so I'm gonna, maybe not. I'll be okay. Can you see those kids on the camera? I think that's pretty cool myself. Let's see if I can zoom in. Okay, they're right off the bow, so. Okay, so then you have two lines, one at the bow and one at the aft, and two people holding them. So I'm not going to have that luxury because I'm doing this trip solo. So as long as I can tie up on the starboard side because my motor's on the port side. And I can even do it on the port side. It's just a little bit more risky of hitting the motor on the wall. So I can come in, I can use that trolling motor to be my front line, really. I can turn it towards the wall of the lock and then just turn the power on slowly, slow RPM on the prop. And then at least I can I can set a line in the back. And because my boat isn't very big anyway, what I might do is actually have the trolling motor gets me positioned so that I can tie up one line. But then after that, I can probably move, I can go to a second line, hold on to the first line, and then go over and grab a second line. And now I'm grabbing two lines, one going about, I'm in the center of the boat. And I got one line going forward, one line going aft. Or I just keep the trolling motor on, and I only use no line up front, trolling motor only, and one line in the back. So I haven't tested that yet, but I think it's got a good chance of success. Okay, so I'm going to stop the anchor right now and let the wind blow me away from these kids for a while. So that's the next use for the trolling motor. But there's another use. And this is not necessary because people with sailboats don't have trolling motors and they put their sails up and down all the time. But what I think is kind of cool is when I go to put the sails up, if I don't want to be, if it's going to take me a little while to get them up and everything, then, and especially for putting the mainsail up, I can drop that trolling motor and put it on anchor or GPS anchor, and then the boat turns right into the wind because the wind will blow it so that its nose is pointed towards the wind. And that's the best way to put your sails up, directly into the wind. So, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how good that works. It's weird. I'm gonna bring the trolling motor up. I keep drifting towards it's almost like I'm drifting upwind towards the kids in the sailboats. Okay, so I'm gonna stow it now. Okay, so that worked pretty good. This is my third try at streaming and recording at the same time, and because Phantom was on and he could hear me, at least I know my audio is working this time. Okay, so what time is it anyway? 10:57. Let's start heading in. I usually I park the boat and then I do a couple things and then I'll start heading home about 1 in the afternoon. So when I'm on this great loop, I'm probably going to be averaging, I'm going to average about 5 miles an hour, mostly to conserve fuel. And I'm not speeding up today because I got no place to go. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just enjoying just kind of cruising along here slow. But right now I've got the ballast in the boat for sailing, but also the boat just handles better when the ballast is in it, especially when you're docking and stuff like that. If there's any kind of wind, there's 1,500 pounds of water ballast in this thing right now. And I can, in order to empty the water ballast, I just have to go up, down inside, and I have to pull a plug, which just allows air to go into the ballast tank so that you don't have a vacuum. And then you come back here and you lift a valve up, and then you'd run the boat, I think, at 10 miles an hour for something like 5 minutes, and all the water ballast will be out, and then you just shut the valve and you put the plug back in. You don't even have to put the plug back in, but I always do, just in case there's critters in there. The ballast is for sailing, but it also creates stability, extra weight and stability in the boat. So when I'm traveling on the Great Loop, I have a plan, and I think over time I will either prove that it's right or maybe have to make some adjustments. But what I'm planning on doing is having the ballast out most of the time, and we'll see how I'm going to be anchoring probably 75% of the nights I'm going to anchor, and 25% I'm going to stay in a marina. Staying in a marina is better because I can use shore power. I can. It's easy to take checkers out to go potty. I can fill up with water. They've usually got a fuel station, so I can fill up on fuel, take a shower. So I'm planning on staying at marinas about 2 nights a week and then anchoring 5 nights a week. And now the marinas, they were expensive, but the way price of everything is escalating so rapidly in recent years, let's not get into politics, but the price of marinas is up to about, it used to be $1 or $1.50 a foot, even just a few years ago. So I've got a 26-foot boat, so let's say $50, let's say it's $2 a night. But now it's $3 to $3.50, the average. The average marina is $3 a foot now. So I'm a minimum of 75 feet, $75, more like 80 per night. So if you're staying in marinas every night, that's kind of a big deal, right? So my going in plan is 2 nights in the marina, 5 nights at anchor on average. And then I was talking about speed. Speed will vary. There's going to be some times when, for either because of weather or because of a long distance that I've got to go in a given day, I'm going to avoid traveling at night. But I may have to speed it up. I may have to go 10 miles an hour. I might have to go full speed almost, for some periods of time on some certain days. But normally, I want to do some trolling. So there's, 2 miles an hour. I think at idle, I'm going to be 2 miles an hour. So some trolling it's ideal to be down around 1 mile an hour or 1.5 mile an hour, but I think 2 miles an hour is going to be my minimum. So, when I don't have to be in a hurry and I want to do some trolling and catch some fish, or a fish, I'll be going 2 miles an hour. A pretty good speed for fuel mileage with this boat, a compromise is about 7 miles an hour. I think I'll get 7 miles to the gallon. Or is it? No, I'll probably get about 5 miles to the gallon. This boat unloaded will get about 7 miles to the gallon at at 3,000 RPM and at about 7 miles an hour. But I'll be up closer to, no, that's actually 2,000 RPM. In fact, I had a piece of paper here somewhere, it's not here now, where I was memorizing my RPMs and fuel mileages and speeds. It keeps sounding like somebody's passing me, but there's not. So, so on a day when I'm probably in kind of a hurry, I'll go 7 miles an hour. I think my average speed is probably going to be about 5. Between trolling, between having to go faster, but so now, like right now, I've got my rudders down for steering. The motor turns, but so do the rudders. So it just gives you enhanced steering with the rudders down. And I also have the dagger board down. And for docking, you really want the dagger board down unless the water's too shallow. Especially if there's any wind, because it really helps with maneuvering. It helps when the wind is pushing on the side of the boat. But one of the reasons I wanted this boat, a couple reasons specifically. One, when I pull the rudders up and the dagger board up, normally I've got about a 12-inch draft, and so I can go in water as shallow as a foot, but I can actually beach it. With the amount of weight I've got in this boat, I could be down around 18 inches of draft. But it's going to allow me, on occasions, if there's no tide, wherever I'm at, I'll be in the rivers a lot, I'll be up in the Great Lakes, some of the canals, and some of the, like over here, when I'm in the ICW, I'll be affected by tides, but what I'm trying to say is I can beach the boat, I can actually stay overnight with the boat tied to the shore, which would be kind of handy because then I don't have to use the dinghy to get checkers to shore. That probably won't be all that often, because there's a lot of places where you just can't go up to the shore and beach your boat, either because of private property or terrain or whatever. I just watched a video from a guy doing a great loop, Brenton, in his shanty boat, and his videos he's just leaving Georgia going into wow, that's a big boat. Can you see it? He's going into South Carolina, and it's nothing but mud, like really gooey, sticky, dirty, almost black or grayish mud. Okay, so that's, look at the size of that boat. I mean, it's nice. If you want to look rich, that's the boat to have, or one like it. But man, it's big. And it's just going to cost an enormous amount of money. Mad Hatteras, so that's a Hatteras. Probably a 50-footer. Wow. My checkers. Okay, while I'm out here, I'm just gonna get a semi-ready. Oh, I didn't drink my coffee. Wow. Checkers stay. I keep pulling the ring. on that thing too hard and pulling the ring. So put that right there. Guy cuts right in front of me. He owns this channel. He must own this channel. Two 300 force outboards. Those Mercuries or what? Wow. Not only did I stretch the ring out, but I poked myself. Portofino Harbor. Let's see, where's my camera? There's a whole bunch of small sailboats over there. Huh. On trailers. That's interesting. I haven't seen that down here anywhere else. So I put my boat in the water not quite 2 months ago, and the bottom of this boat is just has so much growth on it. And I even got the copper no foul, whatever it is, paint. I guess that keeps barnacles off, but there's some kind of green growth that's probably 2 to 3 inches long. It looks like hair. Okay. All over this boat already. I think that guy's he's either got a fish on or he's got a snag, but the angle of the fishing line almost looked like I could hit it. So we're going under the 146 highway bridge. We're in the channel between Clear Lake and Galveston Bay. We're headed for the Kemah Boardwalk Marina. Kemah Boardwalk is owned by, I can't remember his name, but he owns the Landry's restaurant chains. He owns the Houston Rockets. I think he owns a casino in Las Vegas. He's got about a 90-foot, really, really nice yacht, like, top of the line. That's down in Galveston, but he owns this Kemah Boardwalk, which is like an amusement park, but it's got all of his restaurants in it, and a bunch more. Saltgrass, Joe's Crab Shack. He owns those, I know for sure. There's a pretty big boat docked to go to Kemah Boardwalk. I never noticed that you could dock there. So I go out like this, you know, just about every day that I'm here for a while, partially because I need lots of practice. This isn't the easiest boat to dock whenever there's any wind at all. Like even this little tiny breeze today is coming from the east, kind of northeast. And when I go to pull into my slip, it's going to blow me away from the slip. So get ready to laugh. That's a nice dinghy lift there. Okay, so where's my camera? Yeah, we're good. Whenever I go out like this in the morning, making my coffee is, it's kind of a, I don't know. Since I had COVID, I don't even really taste my coffee like I used to be able to. So it's more of a habit. And I don't even mean the caffeine. I mean the ritual of making it and, you know, smelling it. I grind my own coffee with a hand grinder. When I'm home, I pretty routinely drink all the coffee I make. But when I'm out here on the boat, like today, I didn't drink any of it until just a few minutes ago. I just forget. But it is a beautiful day, I'm telling you. There's something about... The only thing that could be slightly better is in the old days when we had the 2-cycle engines, I just love the smell of 2-cycle fuel burning with the oil mixture. And then if you were to put like racing oil in it, oh baby. Love the smell of that. It just brings back memories from my childhood of water skiing and boating. I grew up on a lake. And my mom was quite the boater. She would go out for a boat ride every day, almost every day. And then my grandfather was a navigator on a sailboat in the ocean. I don't know a whole lot about that, but he used to brag about it. And then my Uncle Fred was a boat racer. He raced hydroplanes and runabouts. Runabouts like a long pointy boat. Hydroplane is a flat, wide boat. But they used to race them with German engines. I think they were called Koenigs. And they would use racing fuel. And it just smells like really good. It might have even been ethanol, or methanol. Not ethanol, methanol. No, those were 2-cycle. They would just scream really super loud, and I don't know what RPM, but it was definitely something over 10,000. At least that's what it sounded like. It sounded like a boating version of a Formula One. So I'm on Dock D, slot 25, so we're approaching Dock D right now. So I got to go to the far side of Dock D. Yeah, so I got something wrong with this throttle engine linkage combination where if I'm in forward and I go back to neutral, the motor goes to idle, but it doesn't come out of forward gear. In order to get it out of forward gear, I got to go into reverse and then back to neutral. So in other words, if I'm going forward, I got to run the throttle through neutral, into reverse, then back to neutral, and then it pops out of the forward gear. And I got down in there yesterday. I took a video of how the linkage is working. I'm going to be calling Mercury Marine or talking to my dealer about it. I can't see what's wrong. I don't even see an adjustment on it. There's probably one in there. There's one area that I can't see very well. So there might be a nut or a threaded rod to adjust it in there. But I don't even see a way to adjust it. And I did notice, like, if I go in forward and then back to neutral, which is the condition where it's still in forward gear. Where's my spot? I came back. I decided to come back. One of these days, I'm not coming back. So I noticed that when I get into that condition and then I put my finger down there, I can actually turn the lever a little bit further, or push the lever a little bit further, so I can see some slop, only about 1/4 of an inch, if that. That could be the problem. See, now this wind is blowing me away from the dock again. I kind of missed my... route a little bit anyway. Wow. Not good. Watch out. Glad I got this on camera. It'll make for a good laugh. Jesus Christ, I'm going to back up and just take another shot at it. I think Ron's coming over to help me. Certainly must look like I need help. State truckers. There we go. Got to have a little bit different angle. What the fuck? How the hell did that happen? If you were coming over to help, thanks. One more shot and I would have needed help. Yeah.
That little old boat.
Wind catches it pretty good, you know.
Most of the time I went on the boat, I just got, stupid drunk.
Really?
After about a six-pack, you don't really care about it too much.
Yeah.
It takes all the stress out.
What was that?
The drunker you are, the better.
Yeah.
The easier it is.
Okay. We're back. Back at Kemah Harbor Marina. I'll end up shutting the stream down. Is there anybody on? Oh, battery went dead on my, excuse me. What's that?
I said you got it all on there, don't you?
What's that?
Everything you need.
Oh, I got more than what I